Hello, kindred spirits. Welcome back to Bits and Bob's Divination. My name is Caitlin, and today we are going to be diving in to see what it is that you need to hear right now. So let's go ahead and see what you got. Alright, so welcome back, my beautiful kindred spirits, and anyone new who may be joining us here today. We are going to be, like I said, looking into what it is you need to hear right now from spirit, your higher self, from the universe. I really felt called to this reading. I even had an entirely different reading planned for today, but felt really called to just do a very open-ended, more sort of general reading to just see what is coming in. I just feel like there are specific messages, and there were specific messages throughout the piles that just felt very much like you guys needed to hear them. So I do hope this is useful to you and that you find it to be helpful in some way. And like I said, if you are new though, do feel free to subscribe as I put out new videos on here every single Monday for different pick a cards and educational videos on tarot and charm casting. So do feel free to stick around and join our community that is growing here as we've just hit over 1,000 subscribers. Hooray, super excited, and it's lovely to just have you all here. So before I start rambling anymore, I just want to remind you that snail mail readings and spell and ritual papers and other offerings that I do are open right now. So you can get some pride earrings for pride or at any time really by a queer artist, myself. You can also get spell and ritual papers that are handmade to specific Sabbats and seasons for magical work. And you can also look at getting your own questions or queries answered through some snail mail readings, where I actually send a letter wax sealed closed for your eyes only to you in the mail. So do feel free to check those all out down below, and let's go ahead and look at your piles. So as always, you have 3 piles to choose from today, and with each of them they have a different crystal. So for pile number 1, you have the crystal of rose quartz in this tumbled version. So that is pile number 1. For pile number 2, you have this piece of tumbled Lapis Lazuli. So that is pile number 2. And then last but not least, here for pile number 3, we have this piece of Sunstone with little pieces of tourmaline in it as well. So that is pile number 3. So before you start heading off to the timestamps and rushing off to the races, I'd like to take a moment here to invite you to take a deep and cleansing breath here with me to really ground your energy and to connect with your intuition. So let's go ahead and take that deep cleansing breath here now. And as always, there's no right or wrong way to choose your piles here. You can choose all 3 of the piles, you can flip-flop between them, you can do anything you like. There really are no rules here, so just play with your own rules. All the timestamps will be down below in the description alongside the chapter marks of this video. And as I mentioned earlier, if you want to look beyond these and get your own snail mail reading, you can do that, or check out the other offerings that I have down below alongside the Kindred tip jar. So with that all said, let's go ahead and look here at pile number 1. Hello group 1, if you've decided to choose this piece of rose quartz, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to set it here so you can see it during your reading here today, as we are going to be keeping this quite open-ended, quite simplified, by looking into the messages that are reaching you as of this moment, the messages from spirit, the messages just generally coming in for you for advice, but we're just going to be seeing what's coming in more generally, and the ones that you just really need to hear right now. And then I also want to include in a yes or no question at the end. It might have a maybe, better, or try again answer as well, but do feel free to, as we go through this reading or just outside of the reading in and of itself, you can start to think of a message that has a yes or no answer to it, how you want to word it, what you want to think about, and we'll be doing that for the collective at the end. But like I said, this is going to be a really chill, calm, kind of just see what comes up, spur of the moment kind of reading. I actually had an entirely different reading planned for today, but I felt really called to just bringing this one message to you. So let's see what yours is here. All of the charms and different decks are going to be listed down below in the description if you're interested. So do feel free to get cozy and check anything out down there. But we're going to start by pulling one card each, and we'll also be pulling charms here too, but do feel free to send your energy in, and let's just answer the question of what messages need to reach you right now. These might be messages that are specifically for right now in this moment for you, or this specific day, but they might also be more overarching than that. So let's see. You got the Two of Swords as your tarot card here to start us off. So the Two of Swords with this raven or crow, a little cat here, and a figure who is sort of blindfolded or has a sort of mask of some sort over their eyes. That's showcasing that they're using entirely their intuition to make a choice or to make a decision. So the Two of Swords has a lot to do with decision making and making decisions fully based off of instinct and off of your gut and what your gut is telling you and your intuitive voice is telling you. So there might be a decision that you are currently in the moment trying to figure out. Maybe you came to this reading knowing that you have something that you've been kind of weighing. It might be something really big, or it might be something as simple as like what to eat today. But we're going to see what else you have coming in. So let's go ahead and move on to another one of our decks, and we'll see how these combine together. So group one, what else do you have coming in that you need to hear right in this moment? What is coming through for you? Group one. Okay. Second card, we have the Stars, Luck, Hope, and Wishes. This one's been coming out quite a lot, and I really like this card because it showcases very different from the Star card in the actual tarot, in that the imagery here really showcases kind of navigating a kind of problem that you have, thinking of the stars more as a navigation tool, and using that knowledge to kind of spin something together. It really feels like something's coming together in the middle here to spin something. So I really feel like maybe you're trying to navigate your situation right now and trying to figure out, it almost feels like with the wishes and the hope and the luck that we got here at the bottom, sort of like you're working off of a whim, like you're just sort of free falling into this decision that you're making, that you're feeling very much having to kind of fall into it, trust your own intuition, maybe having to trust another's viewpoint and the way that they might navigate the situation, and really trusting their advice. So you might have like this trust fall that you have coming from the idea of needing someone else to support you or to give you the advice that you can then trust fall into and kind of spin together with your own intuitive voice to create something new, or a new point or new vantage point that you aren't able to see here alone in this card. So I want to see what else we're getting, obviously, and we're going to look a little further. This is going to be hopefully a more quick paced reading, because we're going to only pull 4 cards and then do some charms here with that yes or no question as well. But we also have Determination, the Ram, and Dahlia. There's something about this eye of the ram. It really feels like it's looking into our soul, does it not? It just really feels like it's looking into your soul right now, and like really, like they're seeing past any mask that you might have on, and seeing past any fear that you might have, and really, they have quite a lot of fortitude and a lot of determination, obviously, and a lot of they just like really push through, and they really I don't know, I just feel like there's no defense, and that almost is what helps them to be more determined, because there isn't like a wall of fear or a wall of anxiety or a wall of something else that's holding us back from creating a decision. And you really have the ram on your side. Like I said, I feel like there might be another person's perspective that's coming through, that's kind of chatting to you, or you know what this is reminding me of? I don't know if you guys ever played like a game as a kid where you had to have some sort of blindfold on, and another person then had to tell you like a certain amount of instructions, like how to make a peanut butter and jelly, as if you never knew how to make a peanut butter jelly sandwich, and you had to do it all just intuitively and all just based off their instructions. And so if they literally tell you to do something that's out of step or doesn't make sense, then the communication can throw it off entirely. And that's really what I'm getting with like this raven here, or this crow. Like they're talking in your ear and telling you, like, you know, a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, a little bit down. And I really feel like, yes, you're using your own intuition to make a decision right now, but spirit and any guides and however this message is really reaching you, I really feel like someone is trying to give you the sight or give you a new perspective that you aren't currently seeing, that will help you navigate your situation a little bit better. So there might be someone in your life over the next few days that comes forward with a solution for you, and I definitely think it's worth listening and truly hearing them out, because they've either gone through the situation before, and maybe that's why they feel that feeling of determination, because they have experience behind them, or something else along those lines. But let's go ahead and pull you a grandmother spirit card here with the Song of the Grandmothers, and see who is reaching out here. What spirit guide might be coming forward for you? So we actually have Grandmother Jasper Shield. Like I said, it felt like there was a shield. There was like some sort of mask or layer over you, and they can see beyond it. They can see beyond what you are putting on the table right now, or see beyond the perspective that you have right now that might be more limited based on your current experience. But yeah, Grandmother Jasper Shield. It also is the number 25 here. 25 meaning a quarter. So it really makes me feel, again, like maybe the decisions that you're making, like I said, this might be very big for some of you. So the fact that we got 25 made me think of like a quarter life crisis feeling. Not that it has to be a crisis, but sort of like where we're at a crossroads of some sort. So that might be, again, where you kind of are possibly. We also have protection offered, energetic buffering while you recover. So it also feels like, again, like they want to help shed light on something that they have gone through in the past to help make your situation easier. And again, this also can be it could be a version of yourself that you're tapping back into, right? Sometimes we have to kind of go back and remember the experiences that we've gone through, or relive a lesson. And because you have a wealth of experience in the past, or someone else around you has this wealth of experience for you to tap into, this is giving you a little bit more of a shield for you to kind of buffer while you figure things out, or to give you a little bit more protection, or a little bit more like chances to stumble, a little bit more of like extra hearts if you were like playing a video game, right? And that's really what I'm getting here. I really feel like someone right now is wanting to help you, or has a wealth of knowledge to help you right now, a resource for you, to help you through a decision that you're making, through a quarter life sort of crossroad situation, or through something that you're experiencing right now that you're having a hard time navigating, and that they have a little bit more experience in that could really help you, to give you some more confidence and courage to move through it. So that being said, let's go ahead and pull you some charms to cast on top of the cards, and then we will be ending off with your yes or no question. So feel free to get that ready in your mind. But let's go ahead and pull the charms here first. So do feel free, as always, to send your energy in, and we'll see what bits and bobs are coming in for you. Honestly, a lot. I really feel like there's a lot of charms for you guys today. I usually don't get this many charms, and I don't want to cut it off. I'm going to move this one up a little bit. But yeah, we have quite a few charms showing up for you all today. We have a couple that are letters. So on the 2 that we have on the 2 of Swords, we have the letter F. So that might represent that person. We also have the letter O showing up here as well. Or sorry, no, that's Q. Could be an O, could be a Q. So we have the letter F and Q that might be helping you through this situation. Whenever I see the letter Q show up as well, and especially since it's not on the navigating stars part, but rather the like silk that's coming from this situation, Q usually represents something that you're questioning or you don't have the answers to. So again, there's someone who has the answers that can help you kind of spread or to rather navigate your situation. We also have memory showing up here, up at the very top. We have the face charm. This means that they can see through any mask that you have, right? They can really see your true colors here. They know what you have, boiling under the surface. They understand the anxiety that you might be having and how that's ready to tip. They have experience, right? They have memories that they can access that are definitely have hardened over time because it fell on the horns, but they also have become their strength. So I really feel like this person might be a very strong-headed kind of person as well, that just can really see through your soul, right? We have those kind of people around us who just, they know when we have some BS on our face or that we're withholding information. They can see through that. They can tap into that. We also have the butterfly charm. This represents an evolution. Again, they've gone through this evolution before. They have some pieces of the puzzle to help in the situation for sure. We have the not listening charm showing up here at the bottom by the Two of Swords. Whenever I see this, it represents, we have our headphones on, we're not listening, we're kind of, muffling the conversation or muffling what we might be needing to hear. And then we also have the paper clip, which represents something. This is a temporary experience that you might be going through right now, even if it feels really big. Like I said, that quarter life crossroads feeling. It definitely is a temporary space. You're not going to be in this unknown phase for very long. And then, like I said, you're going to be able to break that cycle of thinking. You're going to be able to find the exit. But right now it just feels maybe like it's going around and around in your head, but they're going to help you find that target. We have more pieces showing up here in the sky, and then we also have the cloudy weather charm showing up here. Whenever I see this, it represents again that you're questioning, you don't have all the answers. Clarity is needed, so that's showing up here as well. Clarity is needed before any forward movement can happen. And then the last thing that we have here on the shield charm, we only got shield card. We only got one charm here. And it is the little nut. But for whatever reason, I'm feeling really called, and I don't think I've ever noticed this before. I don't know if you can see it. There are some numbers at the bottom here and letters. Again, we have F, 5, 9, 4, and C. But it also says the at the top here. And I don't know, this makes me feel like the very beginning of a journey or the very beginning of a sentence. Of a chapter, right? Like you're just about to start the storybook or about to tell a new story, a shift or a change in direction. And because you're at that crossroads, you're having sort of a buffering phase. It makes me think, right, we only have the so far, and that's okay, that you can take your time and work your way up. Experience has to be gained over time, right? So we don't, you have a little bit more wiggle room than maybe the person who you might be gaining advice from once had. So, taking advantage of that is really important. So those are all of the cards and charms that I have for you, but let's go ahead and head over to your yes or no question. All right, so we now have it set up for your yes or no question here, so do feel free to pull it into your mind. It could be, again, about the actual reading that we just had here, or it could be something entirely unrelated, but because this is a collective reading, I want you to, take this as lightly or as deeply as you'd like, and play around with it and see what happens. So do feel free to send your question in here, and we will see the answer to your collective questions. So, what is the answer to the collective for group 1? Okay, so we have it falling over here between yes and better, but mostly on the better side. So that's really exciting. That usually means that whatever it is that you were asking a question about, it's already kind of falling more towards yes, but that if yes is something that you didn't necessarily want, it's going to turn out better than you thought it would. Or just in general, it's going to be a better outcome than whatever you were hoping for. So that's already really exciting to see. I do hope that this reading was useful and helpful for you here today. I know it was a little bit quicker and that we were kind of playing around with less cards, but I do hope it was still beneficial to you and you found something that you were, needing to hear right now. So if you did, do be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below. I'm always curious to hear your guys' thoughts, especially when it comes to very wing it kind of readings like these. I'd also love to hear what kind of readings you'd like to see in the future, if there's ones I've done in the past that you'd like to see come back up, if there's educational videos or other things that you'd like to see. Do let me know. I always keep those in mind. You're also welcome to subscribe if you haven't already. We've just hit over 1,000 subscribers and I do plan to hopefully do something for that, so keep an eye out. But do feel free to subscribe if you haven't already and join our little growing community here. All of my offerings have opened back up, so if you're interested in a snail mail reading for yourself to look deeper into these topics or others on your mind, then do not hesitate. Feel free to message me and we can set that up. And you're also welcome to see the other spells and ritual papers that I have, as well as other handmade goods like the pride earrings, all of which will be listed down below in the description. So thank you so much for being here with me today, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye! Hello Group 2, if you've decided to choose this piece of Lapis Lazuli, then this is the pile for you. And I set it here so you can see it during your reading here today, as we are going to be doing, like I said in the intro, more of an open-ended reading. We're going to be just seeing what's going to pop up for you right now. It might be something you're currently struggling with or working through or celebrating even, or it could be something that is literally today, or even a couple weeks from now, and it might just resonate how it needs to. But these are messages from spirit, they're messages from your guides, they're messages that are just sort of coming in fragments, and we're going to pull them together and see what comes in for you here today. We are also going to be doing a yes or no question at the end, which I find always a lot of fun to do. So feel free to come up with your yes or no question as we move through the reading, or it could be something completely unrelated. So do feel free to have that at the ready when we get to the end. We're going to be using the charms as well as several different oracle decks, which I'll have all listed down below alongside my offerings and other things. But let's go ahead and just start diving into the reading. This should hopefully be a shorter one because we're only going to be pulling one card from each deck and doing some charms as well as the yes or no reading. But you know me, I like to dive deep, so feel free to dive deep here with me. So let's start looking. Feel free to send your energy in through time and space as always. And let's find that card coming through for you right now. What do you need to hear? Okay, so you have the Magician, and we also kind of had the Hanged Man tried to show up here as well, or the Hanged One. But we have the number 1 card, not that it's the number 1, but one of the very early beginning major arcana cards of the Magician here, which is a really fun one to be getting. I'm really curious to see what other cards we get here with this one, so I might just hold my thoughts and come back here as we get farther in. But just in general, the Magician is giving more of a spiritual manifestation kind of vibe, a magical kind of vibe. But it's also showcasing willpower and the idea of having all the resources and resourcefulness is coming through as well. But I'm curious to see which direction it decides to take. So we're going to look next with the Thread-Bound Oracle here and see what else is coming through for you, Group 2, with the Magician here. Group 2, that's too many cards. We're looking for one card, please. Group 2, do feel free to send your energy in. Always does make a difference. Okay, so we have the 6 of Thread, Stitch, repetition, rhythm, and technique. I'm specifically feeling technique, which I don't tend to feel with this card, so I find that really interesting. But paired with the Magician and the idea of having technique show up is really showcasing like a craft or a skill that you are are diving a little bit deeper into, right? This makes me think of like the Eight of Pentacles, even the idea of like repetition makes, perfect, or makes practice takes a lot of time, but is usually worth it in the end, the fruits of our labor kind of feeling. And helps us really gain our technique and get our body rolling in motion with our mind and what we want to accomplish. So there's like this body and mind connection that we have showing up here. Either a spiritual connection, something that you are starting to get the ball rolling on spiritually and kind of getting your ducks in order, or it could just be in general, like I said, with the resources that you have, and using those to the best of your ability to get like a hobby or something else moving. This is going in a lot of different directions, so I really want to hone it in a little bit more. So let's see. Like I said, I feel like a lot of you guys must have picked this pile because the cards are just like trying really hard to jump out with all of them. So yeah, let's narrow it in. See what else might be coming in for you. Group 2 here. Group 2. All right, so let's pull this one out. All right, so this definitely added a new sort of spin on what we have going on here, right? We talked about repetition, resourcefulness, keeping on, growing and continuing, and it just really feels like you're getting the ball rolling. And then we get the moth and eucalyptus with an ending. So that definitely puts a little bit of a different spin, and it's really showcasing to me, especially with like the colors here of that green, and like it almost feels like it's spiraling around like this circle and this little magician here. And we have sort of that circle happening here, that circle happening here, a cycle happening here, and then an ending. So it's really feeling like there's something that you have had a really good technique, you've really honed in on your skills, you've really worked hard to get something going, or to like, hone in on your skills on a hobby, in career. Literally could be for anything, right? Whatever skill this might be. But it feels like something that you've been intuitively working on and repetitively working on for a really long time, or for quite a while. And you're kind of at like a plateau or a mastery within it, or a feeling like you got it all figured out. And then wham, there's this ending coming in. So it's either that you've kind of lost momentum or joy or passion for it, or it's just ready to evoke a new section. It kind of feels like a Pokemon that, is evolving to the next stage. So it's not just like a Charmander anymore. It's like whatever comes after Charmander, right? It's like you're literally evolving to the next stage. And it's not that these skills aren't still useful and valuable to you, because they are, but it's like, you're ready to level up, or you're ready to go to the next stage. And I feel that more with the ending, rather than it being like to just cut it off entirely, but more so a feeling of evolution is happening here. A continuation of the cycle, but instead of it just going in one, way, it's like we've spiraled up to the next level. So I'm curious to add the final piece here with our Song of the Grandmothers card. So you guys know I love these cards, so we're gonna be playing around with them again here today. I love that there's just so much variety within them. I think I am feeling this one. Yeah. Oh, okay. So we also have Grandmother Volcano here showing up, which is one I have been working with a lot in my own personal practice. So I've gotten very familiar with this card and this grandmother, or a really big spirit showing up with volcano and change. And it says, "There's no turning back. There was once before, not now. Demarcation point." And then it is also number 66 down here. So this card is definitely about change. It's about, obviously, but about an ending and how that evokes change, and how that change can be a little bit scary. But I really feel like in your case, even if it's a little bit scary, I also feel this like bubbly excitement that's happening on the backside of it. Like, it feels like when, I know I'm feeling like analogies are just in my brain today, but it feels like the feeling of like moving from one grade to the next when you were a kid. Like you went through that summer break where you kind of like moved away from, you know, fifth grade, and all of a sudden now you're a sixth grader, right? Or when we get to our birthdays and we were once 10 and now we're 11. And what does that mean, right? There's not necessarily a sudden change, but a very distinct change that is currently happening within either your spiritual practice or within your skills, like your hobbies and your skills. Those are the places where I really feel like it's happening the most, like a new hobby that you're taking on, a new level up in that, or again, you could take this however you wish. It's kind of more open-ended. Whenever we get a major arcana, it can showcase more open-ended feelings, but ones that are very much, like it said, no turning back. If you think of a volcano, right, it changes the entire landscape of an island or of a space and kind of creates this rebirth and grows on top of it, in the same way that I was feeling like we aren't entirely getting rid of what was before. Like you still have those skills and those are still important to you, or those hobbies are still important to you, but there's something else leveling and bubbling up to the surface, something you're passionate or excited about. Even if there's a little bit of fear or apprehension towards it, it's still bubbling up and ready to be revealed. So I think that the biggest things that are showing up here for you is just to really follow that and follow your excitement for that and see where it takes you, instead of trying to bottle it up or hold it back in some way. I love the color palette that we're getting here as well, because the colors are all really matching up with, you know, our little flower here in the middle and the purple here, and then the combination of that green coming back in. So I really feel like these are really working together in a very harmonious way. So it definitely feels like you're in the right place right now. It feels like, you know, even if there's a little bit of fear, you're on the right path. So let's finish off with the charms on top. And like I said, do feel free to start getting that question in mind, because we'll do that right after. So do feel free to send your energy in through time and space. And let's see what little bits and bobs are coming in to finish off your reading here. Okay, so let's see. All right, so what we're seeing here already off the bat is, again, a hobby is showing up here. We have the artist palette, but you can also see this as like just in general a signifier for hobbies. Personally, I'm an artist, so I like this as a little art palette, but you might be, again, exploring a very different hobby, a sport even, an activity that you're leveling up in some way. So we have that showing up here again with the 6 of thread, the stitch. It might even be embroidery or cross stitching or something like that for some of you. We also have Scorpio showing up here, so it might be showcasing that this might happen, this level up might happen around Scorpio season, or it started to show up around Scorpio season at some point. This also shows passionate. So again, you're very passionate about this hobby. This is definitely not something that feels like a dull skill that we just do over and over and over for like work or for, you know, like responsibilities that we have in our life. It's not really about that. We also have 1776 showing up here with the Liberty Bell all cracked here. This can showcase like not fully listening to your intuition or something like that with the crack, but it also can represent history. So something you've had a long-standing history with, or something that maybe it's even like a hobby that you're so maybe for some of you, it's a hobby that maybe you lost passion in, and now the level up is just you coming back to it or regaining love and passion for it once again. Yeah, that could definitely be it for some of you as well. We do have over here a little like wing kind of thing happening with this cat or this helper. So I definitely feel like you have sort of, if this feels more of a spiritual thing for some of you, we have sort of a winged spirit coming forward for a few of you, so that might be helpful for spirit identification. Just in general, the wing showcases, again, more of that, like you're on the right path, you're being directed in the right way and following the correct path in some way, or the right path rather. And then we also have 2 chess pieces showing up here, which I find kind of interesting that we have them both sort of pointing towards the ending card with the moth and eucalyptus. It kind of feels less about what the charms actually mean and more so like there's people trying to penetrate this space, this ring, this sort of safe space that you have here. So that might be something to just keep in mind, that there might be people kind of getting their noses in your face if you start up this hobby again, or this skill or activity. It might stir some things back up, but you're stronger now than you were before, for sure. And there's no turning back. It's like, it's worth it for the passion. It's worth it in the end. So I like that. And then even having like the roses up here with the thorns, it showcases again more of that worth and value for it, that it's worth it for the roses to have the thorns. So I am getting that kind of feeling from those two. But overall, I'm getting a feeling of change and endings being a good thing, of kind of recycling or spiraling up to that next level in a skill, hobby, or activity that you enjoy or you are finding new joy in. So let's go ahead and move this on to your yes or no question. Okay, so we are all set up here for your yes or no question. So do feel free to pause if you haven't entirely figured out what it is. But if you have, feel free to start sending in that question and really focusing it into this charm. I do want to preface here, though, that this is a collective reading, so take this as deeply or as lightly as you'd like to, as we're really just looking for the common answer for the majority of your guys' questions, and we'll see what comes through for you. So with that all said, let's see the answer to the question for the collective for group 2. All right, so we have it showing up here kind of close to the new moon, which does represent a new beginning of some sort, but it did fall onto like the maybe section here. So there is a bit of uncertainty here, a little bit of like apprehension still, as it's closer to no than it is maybe, or it's more on maybe than it is no. But it is something to keep in mind, that there's a little bit of cloudiness to this. It's not currently something that is yes or no, or black or white, or that's certain. So take that as you will, and if you found this reading and this yes or no question reading useful, do be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below how it resonated for you, what you liked, what you didn't like, and I'd love to hear your guys' ideas on any readings or educational videos you'd love to see in the future, as I definitely do keep those and put them into account for what I end up putting on the channel. Also, do be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, as we are just hitting over 1,000 subscribers and I want to do something for this. So do keep an eye out on the community tab or on my Instagram. But do feel free to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And if you're interested in a private reading for anything that we talked about today, or other queries and questions that you have on your mind, do be sure to check out my offerings down below for snail mail readings, as those are really fun. They get sent to you in the mail and are wax sealed closed for your eyes only. And they're just kind of quite a bundle of joy, and there's a lot of reviews and everything like that down below on all of those details. Pride earrings are also something you can look into, as well as handmade spell and ritual papers. So with that all said, I'll have that all down below with the Kindred tip jar, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye! Hello group 3, if you've decided to choose this little sunstone, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to set it here so you can see it during your reading here today, as we are going to be using the charms and several different oracle decks, which I'll have listed in the description down below, to see what it is that you need to hear right now. So this could be literally right now, today, or it could be something that's just going to slowly kind of work into your subconscious, or something that you just need to hear over the next few days, few months, few weeks, weeks. You can take it however you wish, but I really felt called to do it here today. I even had an entirely different reading in mind and swapped it with this one because it just really felt like there was some collective messages just like ramming into my brain saying, please check these out. So I want to see what those are for you guys today. I'm going to keep an open mind and hopefully keep these a little bit shorter. We'll see, and see what comes up for you. So do feel free to start getting yourself settled, get some water, get cozy, and we're going to begin by pulling one card each, as well as doing the charms. So do feel free to send your energy in through time and space, and let's see, group 3, what it is that spirit is telling you right now or wanting to communicate with you right now, what your own higher self is trying to bring forward, what your subconscious side wants to bring forward, or anything else. So we have the 6 of Cups. I love this card. The 6 of Cups has a lot to do with sort of nostalgia. It represents like our inner child, nostalgic feelings, kind of coming back to what we truly love and want to care and nurture. It also represents a feeling of kind of wanting to give back in some way as well with the 6 of Cups here. It really feels like, wanting to give back emotionally for someone, wanting to support someone, wanting to support even like a younger version of yourself or a part of yourself that needs nurtured and loved right now, your inner teen, your inner young adult, whatever it might be. But there's something showing up there of like nostalgia, love, care, support, beautiful things to be seeing right off the bat. And the fact that we have these lotuses too, which represent maybe a bit of a struggle to get there, is really calling out to me as well. So let's see what else is showing up here. Let's get a bigger view of the picture that we have. So we're starting out with that 6 of Cups, but let's see what else is coming in with the Threadbound Oracle here. So group 3, what do you got cooking here? What is coming in? Okay, so we also have the 4 of Thread, the Loom, boundaries, community, and responsibility. So like I said, because there was a bit of a struggle here showing up, like a struggle to get to the point where you can bloom, or a struggle to get where you are, a feeling of having to come all the way out from the mud to grow something so beautiful, is showcasing that, you had to go through quite a bit of a healing journey, possibly very much recently, or are currently trying to work on, reparenting, inner child work, inner teen work, young adult work, right? Something where you're kind of reconnecting with that past version of yourself to kind of heal some things. They don't have to be like big traumatic things, but just even small little things that, need to be celebrated or cared for, supported on, things that, maybe you had dreams that you want to kind of come back to, or to that you now finally have the support in order to do so. But the fact that you have boundaries, community, and responsibility just show that you have, it kind of just feels like you're like mending pieces and weaving pieces together. That's really what I'm getting here with the Loom, is it's like there's a lot of pieces that feel separated, that feel separate, and it really feels like they're coming together, that they're weaving together. I feel like you're weaving together parts of your life that felt so separate for so long. This feels very big, right? Like it feels like a really big message, a much more heavy message, but one that I think is truly very healing. And there's such relief that comes through from the cards already, and a feeling of like peace, and harmony. So already really beautiful. I love the colors that we're getting here with such a healing color of green. But as always, let's look a little further. So we're going to pull one here as well, and see what else we have. So I actually feel like it's this one and not the one that flew out. Although just in case it does resonate for anyone, we do have the bee and pomegranate productivity. But the one that I was really feeling honestly was this one, the snake and the fern. And this one showcases the word or oracle message of starting over. So there is this feeling too of like a winding path that really got you to where you are. And again, these are showcasing like two things mending and melding together. It really feels like that with each of them, right? We're kind of as we weave something on this loom, right, we're weaving pieces together that have been kind of caught up or don't perfectly mix or got kind of cut off for a while. And then even with the snake and the fern, even if it's not like perfect, it's a little loopy, it does a little bit of some twists and turns, you got there in the end. So I really feel like you're in a period in your life right now, or are about to approach a period in your life right now that is going to be really quite healing, quite relieving, quite literally relief, not just in like your breath, but like, when you put like a relieving cloth over a wound or something to help it heal better, it feels like that kind of like compression relief even. So I really feel like you're working on something quite personal, quite private even, something quite soft and squishy and quite sensitive as a topic that is less separated than it once was, right? It almost feels like you're breaking down some walls, allowing yourself to start over too. And it also feels like, how I talked about earlier that you might be wanting to pursue dreams that your inner child always wanted to pursue. And you feel maybe a responsibility to a past version of yourself, a responsibility to, fulfill these dreams that maybe don't necessarily resonate with you anymore or really matter that much to you, but like your inner 6-year-old is screaming on the top of their lungs because they got to see, this person they idolized, or, something that you're fulfilling. I also think with the idea of starting over too is, yes, you might be helping out that inner child or inner version of yourself, but also you have a responsibility to you currently, right? Like you don't always have to fulfill those responsibilities of a past version of yourself anymore. You can also fulfill the dreams and cares that you have for yourself now, and that can be healing for all of those versions and have like ripple effects. So I definitely want to pull your next card because you have, like I said, like a heavier feeling that's beginning to lighten up. That's literally, I know it's very vague, but it feels so good. Like, you know what I mean? So I hope you're getting that feeling as we move through this too, because you're definitely going to be feeling it soon. So let's see. And for some of you, maybe it's not that deep. Maybe it's literally just about something that came up this week. But in general, we're getting a feeling of relief. So let's see. Big array. But the one that I'm feeling, I'll go ahead and pick these up. But the one that I'm feeling is all the way over here. And it is empathy. Which totally makes a lot of sense, especially since I just talked about ripple effects with impact showing up, which is all about sort of that feeling. But yeah, I'm feeling empathy. Grandmother Gorilla is showing up here. And it says, I'll fix those later. And it says here, Grandmother Gorilla empathy, sensitive feeler, tenderness is strong enough to hold all that is. 45 for the number here. 45, this also kind of happened with group 1 where they got 25 on their card, and it felt like a sort of quarter life sort of marking point or situation. And maybe you are moving into even a later period in your life for some of you, where this is possible, right? Where this is where you're at a point where this is sort of bubbling up or coming up right now. So there's this feeling of empathy, a feeling of compassion towards, who you were before. Even a feeling of forgiveness is showing up here too. Like, not necessarily forgiving other people, but more so forgiving yourself. Like, I really feel like you're like cradling a version of yourself in all of these, right? We have this little cradling, we have this, we have coming back together, starting over, but all of them are embracing in some way. And honestly, it's so sweet and so loving. It's like making me emotional. So I hope you guys are doing okay, and that you're in a better place right now. And if you aren't right now, I feel like you are very soon. I haven't been pulling this out for all of the other piles, but because I love these cards and I feel like there's maybe something you need to hear, I'm going to go ahead and read from the guidebook here for Grandmother Gorilla. So this is number 45, Grandmother Gorilla. Feel free to pause if you want to read on your own. But it says here, Grandmother Gorilla sits on the ground, settled and present with a young one who's nestled against her chest and fast asleep. The surrounding scene is awash in soft color that seems to hug and hold Grandmother Gorilla in her turn. Her loyal, compassionate gaze speaks volumes about her capacity for empathy. She's not going anywhere, however long her service is needed. Check in with your own feelings today. What role is empathy playing? How can you extend it towards yourself or someone else in your life? Your own tender heart is a ready refuge and never judges the trigger. Call on the power of sensitivity as an act of service, trusting that love has room enough, no matter how wide or deep or unsettling the emotions at play. And then this is specifically from the deck itself. Honey, I know, yes, I know. Come sit on my lap, won't you? Feel the swirl of emotions inside you, and just let me hold you all the while. I know you are brave enough to listen and learn from what they sing to you. You're safe here, in my arms, as compassion composes a new symphony of understanding. Thank you for being present for it all. Sensitive feeler, tenderness is strong enough to hold all that is. Absolutely beautiful. I love this deck for that. Call on the power of sensitivity as an act of service, trusting that love has room enough no matter how wide or deep or unsettling the emotions at play. Like I said, some of you are going through something very, very deep, something that, like I said, with the lotuses, it feels like it's all the way down to the bottom of the pond, all the way down to the muddy, muddy waters, the roots. That helps you get to where you are, but that doesn't mean it doesn't need a bit of empathy, a little bit of forgiveness, a little bit of tenderness and care. So yeah, that's really what's showing up here, is just to be a little bit more empathetic to yourself, to whatever version that is, if that's currently, if that's yesterday, if that's 20 years from now or from before. There's a tenderness, there's this care, there's this empathy. So I don't want to overstate what we have here. Like I said, it's quite simple, but it doesn't mean it's not, relieving or heavy or having a lot of impact here. So let's go ahead and pull you your charms, but do feel free to start getting your question ready to go as well, as we'll be doing that right after. But do feel free, as always, to send your energy in, and let's see what bits and bobs are coming in for you today. Okay, so we have a couple of charms. Let's see. So we have two different bottle tabs, and those are the ones that called to me the most. So we have the Haya charm. So whenever I see this one, it represents like someone coming in to say hello, someone you haven't talked to usually in quite a while. But there is like this really nice sunny heart coming next to it. So it really feels like a good conversation, or someone coming in soon that you haven't talked to in quite a while. Like I said, it could be a past version of yourself that you're knitting together here, but because we have community showing up here as well, it also tells me that there might be someone in your community that's showing up that you haven't seen in a while, especially with the mask showing up here. So someone that maybe has felt separate from you for a while. Again, like I said, with the loom, it feels like things are coming together that felt separate. So someone who maybe has had a mask on for a while and maybe are being able to take that down a little bit, be able to open a little bit more. There's creativity showing up here as well with a little lantern. This also reminds me of like those lanterns that you would... what are those called? Paper lanterns? It's not a paper lantern necessarily, this, but it reminds me of paper lanterns and like the story of like Tangled even, the Disney version with the lanterns and like dreaming a new dream. So take that how you wish. We also have the footing charm. So whenever I see this, I know it doesn't translate on camera, but it really feels like a little wooden or, turquoise foot. So it really feels like, you're getting your footing in some way. And maybe this is a situation that all of a sudden has been arising for you, especially with the pendulum charm. They've been feeling very back and forth on, or keep swinging in and out. making your emotions kind of swing in and out, where you felt like you had a really good footing and then all of a sudden your inner child keeps coming back and coming back in. So that's maybe why more of that empathy is showing up here. We also have fear showing up here with the monster charm. So it also feels like fear, apprehension, a little bit of scared feeling, showing up here with that starting over or needing to start over or letting something go. So as much as you're finding a lot of healing, there's also a need for giving yourself a little bit of grace to start over and do things differently, to dream a little bit bigger, or to dream elsewhere, as that's showing up here as well. We also have like this busy bee charm. Whenever I see this, it makes me think of like feeling really busy. There also might be something happening more astrologically. I'm not the biggest astrologer. I know my basics, but like there could be something coming up astrologically for you in your birth chart, maybe, that might be worth looking at with the starting over part. But nothing fell on empathy, so this part is pretty much showing its true colors here already. So that's everything that I've got here for your reading. I said I was going to keep it short, but there was a lot I wanted to talk about, apparently. So we're going to go ahead and head over to your yes or no question now. Okay, so I have everything set up here for your yes or no question now. So do feel free to start sending it in to the charm here and really letting it kind of settle in here. I do want to preface, though, this is a yes or no question for the collective. So it's going to give us the most most voted up answer in a way, or the one that is coming up most commonly for the questions that you guys are asking. So feel free to take this as deeply or as lightly as you'd like to. But yeah, feel free to start sending in that question, and let's see the answer for you here, group 3. So here we go. Okay, so you got a pretty solid no here. And depending on the question you asked, that could be a very positive thing. It could be a more negative thing. It really just depends on what you all asked. But like I said, feel free to take this as lightly or as deeply as you like. Just because you got no, it doesn't mean it's always a solid no. So there's always a little bit of wiggle room with everything based off the choices and things that we do. Nothing is fixed in life. So feel free to, like I said, use this as you wish. But that is the end of your reading here. I do hope it was useful for you and that you got something out of it. If you did, do be sure to let me know in the comments down below, especially with your guys' pile. I'd be very curious. And if you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe as I put out new videos every single Monday for you all. And we've just hit over 1,000 subscribers. It's very exciting. And I'm just really happy to have you guys here. I'm very grateful, and I hope to be able to do something to give back to the community here. So do feel free to check out my Instagram or my community tab to keep up to date on anything I might be doing on that. But all of the snail mail reading information and other offerings will be down below as well if you want to get your own snail mail reading, if you're interested in getting some handmade spell and ritual paper, or if you're interested even in some pride earrings by a queer artist myself. So that will all be down below in the description, alongside the Kindred tip jar and everything else. And yeah, do feel free to take care of yourself and check back in on the channel whenever you'd like. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.